Let's get started. Editing Paul. Cut. Okay, welcome to the March 2024 edition of the Tough Love Arena State of the Game stream. I will be your host tonight, Paul, one of the co-creators of Tough Love Arena, and I'm going to spend the next 10 to 80 minutes telling you all about the state of the game. What have we accomplished in the last month since the last check-in? What do we have going on right now? What is the current state of the game? And what do you, as our faithful players, have to look forward to in the near to long-term future? As per tradition, we'll also go over the monthly survey near the end, and then do a Q&A with the Twitch chat. However, as I've mentioned in the pre-stream, conversation, I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit short because I've got my back hurts. Okay. Saying back pain sounds so clinical. My back hurts. It hurts. So, let's get started. Past. What did we do in the last... the pain gives me energy. What did we do in the last month since the last day of the game stream? So we had the wonderful Valentine's Day event at Wonderville. Wonderful at Wonderville. Really fun. Cursed best of one tournament. Single limb. Real cutthroat, real fast. It was a weird bracket, and we somehow ended up with a three-way tie for first, but ton of fun. Always happy to do these sorts of events. I'm going to try and talk to Wonderville about doing them more often, which segues into... yeah, exactly, chat. We could talk about that during the Q&A. Which segues to the next point. I've started talking with Mark, the owner of Wonderville, who was so kind enough to put us up in the Wonder Cab, for those who have been around for a little over a year. They have this rotation cabinet called the Wonder Cab, where they'll put different indie games up for a couple of months, but it's otherwise like a generic cabinet. And they hosted us, and it was a lot of fun, and it was great to go to this physical space and play Tough Love Arena on a real-ass machine. And me and Mark just started talking much more seriously about actually having a dedicated Tough Love Arena cabinet at Wonderville. So I'm going to fund it, Mark's going to build it, and then it will exist in residency at Wonderville, but ultimately under my ownership. So if I ever want to move it or take it to another venue longer term, that is my right. So these are some kick-ass designs that Amy came up with for how to actually design the cabinet to give it a unique TLA branding. But this is still early stages, and there is my lovely Siren co-host coming through with the assist. So yeah, probably not making commercial cabinets at scale. I'm learning more about the process. I'm learning more about the parts, what's involved, and I was surprised to learn that like a bunch of the cabinets that they have at Wonderville, even though they're indie games, if it's an indie game like Nidhogg 2, those are what's the word? Made at scale. Like there's dozens, if not hundreds, of those produced. So that is an option longer term. If I feel like there's demand, you can go to one of these companies and have them make you 10, 20, 100 cabinets. No idea what the total cost of that kind of thing would be, because this one's going to be all custom parts and reusing a bunch of like computer equipment that me and Mark already own. But it's gonna be sick. So look forward to gradual updates about that over the coming months. As for dev work, as inspired by spectating this event and realizing during spectating it can be sometimes a little hard to track, I added a proper win counter. There's a little bit of information above the life bars right now about like how many wins each player has, but it doesn't really indicate like where you currently exist in, say, a best of 3 or something. So I added some basic information about win streaks and how long that streak is, and a little star to indicate who has won most recently. I was inspired by, I think, like the Skullgirls HUD does a very simple thing like this. So just a small UI improvement. Unfortunately, it doesn't persist into lobbies, because from a lobby perspective, every time you go back to that lobby view, it's the start of a new set. This will only exist in local play or in private matches, but it's something that could be added to lobbies longer term. It was just, more work. Also, made some really good progress on the Rice Boss. Those who were at the dev stream last week saw that we came up with some pretty fun stuff for their moveset, including a pretty sick, I don't know if I'd call it a command throw, because it like replaces their normal throw, but it was very memey. So super excited to get that. My goal is to have that out. I'll put this out there and screw myself, even though my next month is incredibly busy. I'm hoping to have versus Cryptic Carb in the menu within the next month. May not be the final version, may need further revisions, but just getting that out there and then continuing work on arcade mode. Present. What is the current state of the game? I think things are fine. I think it's chill. It's cool. We're vibing. That concludes the state of the game. Future. What do we have coming up? So, moving. I try not to, share too much about my personal life, but I do when it impacts the development of the game. So I'll be very upfront about the fact that I am moving next week. So there will be no development stream next week because my computer will be in a box. At least my streaming computer for sure. But I should be back online in time for the following Tuesday. So there'll be a small period of communication blackout, and that will impact when Rice comes out. But I'm very excited for the new apartment. Should have significantly less sirens coming through the microphone during tournaments, which has been a big stain on. I feel maybe it's not a big deal, but I find it very embarrassing that I think you can go and watch tournament VODs from the last year and hear ambulances and stuff. Not great. So very eager to have that problem fixed. Upcoming dev work for the next month is, as I said, continuing work on Boss Race, continuing work on the arcade mode, the sort of, just taking character through, blah, 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 beat a boss, minimal story, that kind of stuff. But also now on my sort of high priority list of items to do is make a proper arcade mode. So in my mind, this will be retrofitted onto arcade mode once it's done. But what I mean by this is we have this event mode, right, for running the things at events, and we used a similar, even stripped down version on the Wonder Cab a year ago, so that things are baby proofed. But I've been playing a bunch more classic arcade games at that meetup that I've plugged in the past, Red Perry, and it continually surprises me. Not surprises me, it shouldn't surprise me. This worked for the first 20 years of arcades, but that simple loop of just, you're showing the attract mode until someone does something, then they're playing the single player game, and at any point you can press a button on player 2 controls, and now you're playing 2 player. And once one player loses, you're back to 1 player. And if they want to keep playing 2 player, they just press a button again. And it shouldn't be that much more work to staple that functionality onto the game systems we already have. And that's kind of necessary for, I believe, for the true end game Tough Love Arena cabinet. To have a true fighting game, arcade game that you could walk up, meaningfully play by yourself. You don't have to navigate any menus. You're just in, you pick your character, you're fighting, and if someone else walks up, challenger approaching. Easy peasy. With the one caveat, the one innovation, the one idea that I'm excited to add to the cabinet is having a dedicated reset button in the top middle of the console. Which in the case of home release might be accessible through the pause menu or something, so that if someone picks their character and they regret it, they can, bail out. So yeah, I'm gonna try and focus on getting arcade mode done first, actual arcade mode, but that's gonna be a very quick follow-up task that I'm excited to do. Tough Love Gauntlet, number 150, the big 150 coming up this Friday. So thankfully it'll be on Shiggy's stream because I may or may not have a streaming computer. We currently have a $150 pot. Special thanks to Table Rice in chat who, whether they knew it or not, donated to the pot. So to explain, the last time we had a Matcherino, Table placed pretty high, I think top 4 at least, and had some pretty substantial earnings, and generously offered to forward it to the next pot. So that's 100 of my dollars and 50 of Table's dollars. So thank you, Table. Looking forward to watching you just win it back. But I will be joining Shiggy on comms, and I will also be participating in the tournament briefly. I'm going to try my best. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun. Definitely check that out. Sign up if you haven't already. It's free entry, potentially some free money. and it's going to be a lot of fun. These like major TLGs we do every once in a blue moon for the big round numbers are always like an event. The month after that, look at all these events. We have the April Fool's Tournament, which officially will be Friday, April 5th at 7 p.m. The April Fool's patch will go live midnight, April 1st. So you will have approximately 5 days, I can't count, to learn the patch, to learn how the characters work before the tournament starts. And then as per tradition, I think we'll keep it up for, like a couple more days or something. But this time, rather than me making the April Fool characters, we have curated a list of community members who have long been involved in the modding scene, whether it's because they've contributed mods to the TLG modded series or they're active in its curation. I really wanted to reward those people who had done all this work for the first 2 years of Tough Love Arena, trying to make mods and trying to play mod tournaments, and why wouldn't I reward them and use their expertise if I'm trying to run a mod tournament, right? So all 6 of them have been hard at work for the last couple of weeks making their modded characters. I know some of them already have some drafts done, and so I'll be going through and doing essentially a balance pass to do my best to make sure that at least the numbers are fair. There isn't a clear standout. I don't want a top 8 where all the characters are the same. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see some ideas that I wouldn't do, I'm just one game designer. So that's also free. There will not be a match arena because, again, it is still a modded tournament. All sorts of weird shit could happen. I don't want money on the line in case some weird stuff happens. We're gonna keep it fun, keep it light, keep it fun. There will still be skins. There'll still be clout. There'll still be premium accounts on the line, but no money this time. And lastly, I'm excited to announce that we will officially be at ComboBreaker this year. So I just got confirmation in the last week that we both will be having a official side tournament in the all-in together category, much like we did last year, where going on last year, we'll do the majority of the tournament at the little Artist Alley booth, and then top 4 will be streamed with commentary by me and maybe Phil. I think Phil's going to be there this year. Yes. If he's not playing in it, which he probably is, he's probably going to want to get that medal again. Friggin' Phil. But it's going to be a ton of fun. In fact, I actually heard rather than bumming it at an Artist Alley table, there might be more of a better area for us. And I'm trying to get a slightly larger space to make sure that we have room for both Tough Love Arena setups and for new game setups. So the side tournament's just Tough Love Arena. The new game won't be anywhere near playable at that point. But I want to have 1 or 2 setups to get some really early playtesting. And I'm calling this the first truly public playtesting venue. I'll be doing some ad hoc things with, some friends in person that I know. But we're going to have setups there all 3 days if people want to roll through and try and break the new game. It'll be fun. So it's a great event. I recommend it, even if we're not there. I've loved ComboBreaker the last 2 years that I've gone. The team is super cool, Rick and everyone else who runs it. So strongly recommend if you're in the area or if it's not too inconvenient and you want to go to a FGC major that's, it's still very easy to fly to because right out of Chicago O'Hare. I'd highly recommend this event. It's going to be great. And now for the monthly survey. Okay. Boop, boop. So, 34 responses this time. Solid number. We had those insane numbers last month. That was very great, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm not at all surprised to see the numbers we had more recently. Active players, still well over 100 during the day. It's still a huge increase from where we were maybe even a year ago. So that hot flash in the pan, it's always a short burst, but I'm really pleased with how much we've retained. So 34 responses for something that I didn't do the best job of advertising and only had up for half a week. Very pleased with. How fun do people think it is to play? We got some good numbers on easy. Average, above average on depth. Again, that's pretty normal. Very likely to play again. Very likely to recommend to beginners. I guess this would be like extremely likely, and this is very likely. To recommend to experienced players. For character feedback, we have Noodle on the strong and fun end. Very good to see. This is this is a weird thing that happens if just like two people happen to write the same response. Like normally it should be all written out in text, but as soon as two people just coincidentally write the same text, then it thinks that like it's an answer that has multiple unique responses and it wants to count it. But if you try to like mouse over, ooh, Noodle needs nerfs apparently. A frame 1 back special, what the hell? Buff, jump, is this one comment? Oh, I can also mouse over that, that's easier. Buff, jump, nerf, back L. What's back L? Does Noodle have a back L? They probably mean like 4H, right? No, but L. Oh, L on the keyboard. Thank you. Frenzy. Nerf Frenzy. No. Jumping Frenzy for more rage. Oh my god. I don't play him enough. A little less chip and buzzsaw. Yeah, it's probably fine. The back special thing is wild. The multi that's the Frenzy. Oh, people sure do love that move. Makes Soup only have 1 out of time. I can't do that. Can't think. Cool. Rice. Above average strength, but pretty middle of the road. Interesting. Happy to see above average fun. These numbers haven't always been the best. Also, we got the double nothing. RIP. The back special TV thing is kind of bad. Kind of like Garlic Stash thing would be pretty fun. I think that's kind of what we did with Quickport. Add a bit of delay to the SWAT. Nah, SWAT. Let's make SWAT faster. Decrease the downtime for teleport by a bit. I've thought about that. I've thought about, like, I like where teleport is right now in terms of punishability. That if you have the read, you have Rice in the corner, and you read that they're going to do teleport, you can stand at a range where you can punish it, or you can walk in and walk out and punish it if you're looking for it. But it's fast enough that, like, if you're out of position, you can't, like, get there in time. If I want to make it even faster, where then it starts to get maybe a little hard to react to, even with positioning, I think I would need to make it shorter range to make it easier to position, right? So, try doing individual responses. That doesn't work great because it's hard to go back and forth, and also then I think it shows the emails. So I'm gonna avoid that. But I appreciate the suggestion. Nerf the damn SWAT. Nice. People appreciating teleport being throwable. Too early to judge IMO. Doesn't seem like all the options against Quickport have been fully represented in play yet. Interesting. Interesting observation. Thank you for the watch streak, Kevin. Watch streak, more like watch peak. Let's go. All right. Moving on. Beef is strong. Beef is fun. And beef has nothing. Okay, all right. There's something we could do. Hold on one second. I'm gonna put this over here, just in case it flashes emails. Okay, I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna do this. Okay. That should work. So I've exported it to an Excel sheet, but I've blacked out the emails. So, where were we? Let's just go continue with beef. So for beef, if you could Add, remove, buff, nerf one thing. What would it be? Also, this has so much. Is there like a full screen? There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, dismiss. Remove the lemon roll, then replace with heavy-hitting super armor move like pork. Wait, remove lemon for a super armor move? Wait, what? Make normals easier to whiff punish? They're pretty good. I mean, light's pretty easy to whiff punish. That thing takes forever. What's lag on fake lemon? I think it's a perfectly appropriate amount of lag on fake lemon. Not really in terms of moveset, but hard CPU spam Beefcake is really annoying. I only play against CPUs when there are not a lot of people online, so it's annoying. I'm used to fighting Go Beef players. That's fair. That's fair. The AI is pretty stinky. I keep saying I want to fix that, and I do mean it. And now that I'm gonna, once I start working on arcade mode, that will be a higher priority. If I'm trying to say here's single player content, it can't be total doo doo. So I will seriously try to dig into that, because I don't think I've really changed the AI much in like 3 years. And it was like everything in this game, everything in indie development, which I think is the correct strategy. You know, you get your MVP working, you need a feature, so you build a rough version of it just to like get off the ground, and then you go back and you're supposed to test and polish and refactor and improve. And I got enough AI off the ground so that I could claim to have a single player, and then moved on and started working on character balance and reworking Noodle and adding lobby spectating and adding ranked mode and adding mod support and all these friggin' things. Adding slide puzzle, you know, the important stuff. I never got back to AI, so this is exciting for me, because that means there's a lot of room for improvement. This isn't something like a feature that I made a year ago that, you know, if I tried to make it now, it'd be like an incremental improvement. I think we could make vast improvements on the, again, AI is a strong term, on the CPU, I should say, on the CPU intelligence, on its heuristics. And spamming parries is a big one. Spamming parries and being free to projectiles. Those are like the two low-hanging fruit that if I can fix those, like the AI play will get so much better. Where were we? Rework Beefcake to have a cooldown, like when it comes out. Not sure what that means. Give an option to make the lemon move slowly. We experimented this with this, and I think April Fool's one of the years. And ultimately, I think it's too strong. Like in Fireball design, you have a couple of knobs you can toggle, and two of the most important ones are projectile speed and are you putting the startup before the projectile or after? Like the projectile animation presumably shouldn't be super fast or super slow. So does the projectile come out near the end or near the beginning? And the most powerful thing you can do, like the two most powerful versions of fireballs, is if the projectile comes out right away and moves fast, because then it's just very difficult to react to. Or the opposite extreme, where the projectile comes out very slowly and then it moves very slowly. Or it comes out near the end, I should say, and then it moves very slowly, because then you get to control space with it. It occupies space, and if it comes out near the end of the startup, excuse me, comes out near the end of the startup, you can walk behind it, you can take advantage of that space that you're controlling. Classic example, Guile versus Ryu. Ryu can shoot fireballs willy-nilly, they come out with some variable amounts of speed and pretty like in the middle of the animation. So if you get the read on it, you can't react with the jump, but if you get the read on the jump, it'll be easy to hit him square in the head. You don't have to worry about landing on the fireball. You don't have to worry about the fireball clipping you out of the jump. Guile throws the fireballs slower, either in terms of the animation or because you have to charge them. it in a way makes them kind of slower before the fireball comes out, if you want to think about that way in terms of like a fireball war. And Guile can throw fast fireballs, and those can be strong, but the slow ones are the good ones. The slow ones are the scary ones. And with Beef, I decided to go with, it comes out late, but then it moves pretty fast, because I wanted it to be more of a zoning tool than strictly a Guile, I'm just going to walk behind this and it's my turn now. You can do that with Beef, but you have to spend meter to skip the recovery. So by designing it that way, you could have both. You could have both the like fast-moving pressure zoning tool, and then you could use RC to turn it into the Guile Fireball. This is a very long way of answering the question, which is that if I made it slower, it would lose potency as a like sort of tick tool, because if it's really slow, then it's trivial to not get hit by it. But it would also make it stronger. So it'd like remove a feature of it and then make it stronger at the part that's maybe a little bit more degenerate. I don't know if that made sense. I just sort of blacked out for a couple minutes. But I have a lot of opinions about this. And so the timing and the speed of Lemon is very intentional, and I'm happy with where it is. But it's a fair suggestion, and I hope you learned something from that little rant. For his jump attack to have just a bit of delay or punishment, as it's very easy to spam. Yeah, if you haven't gotten used to anti-airs, that's fair. I understand where that's coming from. I don't think it's too overtuned at this point, but it's fair. I understand the idea. Buff block by making it easier to block and make it stun the opponent. Don't understand that one. Give some delay on the counter. It's wild. Nice. Okay. Back to the survey. We might have to start speeding up a little bit because the back pain's coming back. But where were we? Zoom out a little bit. So Pork. Pork is pretty even, but definitely leaning strong, and we love to see it. Fun. I hate this character. Great. And we have normal looking Pork notes. So faster caber startup, make running caber slower. You love to see it. I love caber. I love caber as it is. It is doing its job. If I see both of these, then caber's doing its job. I think I've got the Goldilocks caber. Don't know how to make him stronger where he needs to be. I've talked before about, would it be healthy for the game if Noodle was the strongest character? Would it be healthy for the game if Garlic was the strongest character? The really fast one, the really oppressive zoner, these sorts of things. Who is the ideal top tier? If a character has to be good at the game, if a character has to be the best, and therefore is going to have high tournament representation, maybe we should have someone who has more fun play patterns. Like, I don't think this as a, Zangief can never be top tier, you must always nerf grapplers to the ground, per se. But I bring it up to say that, like, Pork is not bad, in my opinion. Pork has solid tools, because at the end of the day, he's a meat. So he's got godlike normals, the highest health, decent damage, and jump is probably the best anti-air in the game, right? So, meat jump. So he's got the tools, he's got the basics. He will never be bad. And command grabs and vortexes are so... they can just be so swingy and so sort of matchup and psychology, player matchup dependent, that it's really, I think it's really dangerous when you have a character that's otherwise very good, like say a Yun from Street Fighter 4, especially Arcade Edition, that then also has a 5-way mix-up. When he was great without the mix-up, right? He was great because he had the amazing confirms and the Ganadian damage and the meterless DP that was kind of hard for some characters to punish and got you out of the corner. And he had all these things. He could do EX lunge runch. You could cheat neutral with one EX bar and confirm it into super. But on top of this, they also give him ambiguous dive kicks and a command grab that can combo into ultra. Like, sorry. Gotta get off my Street Fighter 4 soapbox. But grapplers, I think, normally are weak because they give the character this really strong tool to command grab, and then make everything else about them ass. And Pork was never trying to be a Zangief. Pork was trying to be a hybrid, something more like an Abel or a Wara or even an Akali or something, or a Manon, a character I love in Street Fighter 6, to keep using Street Fighter references, who has the grab as part of their kit, but you could win a match without ever doing the grab, and just having the threat of the grab does enough for you. Again, very long way to say, I like where Pork is. I think Pork is no slouch. I think it could be dangerous to tune Pork further. I think this would be a mistake. I've thought about this. I've thought about it as an option to standardize, reversals. If his chop was frame 1, it could not convert meterless. It could not do what it does right now, where you can do the pork links. And I think the pork links are more interesting as a niche and very satisfying. And it feels really good when you're able to, frame trap into chop and confirm it off of the link. So it can never be frame 1 in Volt while it can do that. Even with the crazy scaling we added to using it as a combo starter, it can't be allowed to do that. This commentator is more of where my head is at. Solid mid-tier character, granted surrounded by a cast of S tiers, only even or losing matchups, but hard to propose any big changes for. This is an interesting strategic change. I'd have to look at that. I mostly tried to dictate the Caber Council timing as I thought I put it as late as I could before it really clashed with the animation. So I don't know if he actually has a frame of running before he's actually moving, and that's where they're proposing extending it to, or if I just have an R6 frames that I'm not using. This could be interesting. I'd be willing to think about this. Someone reminded me during a dev stream, and I'll look at it then. We're definitely not adding new moves. He already has a taunt. It's called Caber Cancel. I love to whip it out when I'm playing with new people, and I just start doing the ooh, 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 ooh. Pork and Garlic, the two characters with taunts, my favorite. Beef also kind of has it, but his gain's meter, so it's not much of a taunt. It's too practical. It was very funny. It was very funny at the Man, this is not being quick state of the game, but it was very funny at the Wonderful tournament. I think it was Soup. Really nice person, NYC based, is one of the artists working on the new game. They came out to the Wonderful event, and I think they picked Beef and would just start each round by spamming the flex to build meter. And everyone else there had never played Temple Arena before, so they just had no idea what was happening, and Soup gained so many free meters. Fun times. Okay. Moving on. Onion, strong. Fun, good. Damage nerfs, more damage. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. Being a game designer is hard. What am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? Why don't you people make up your mind? I know this comment means I don't use this character, so I don't have any feedback to offer. But it's just very funny to read it as what would it be? Don't use Onion. That's what I want, for people to not use Onion. This is an interesting suggestion. I'm not sure if that's what someone else had already brought up. I would totally be down to explore other ways of implementing multiplayer. I really want to add, whether it's multiplayer or... So option 1... okay. There's 5 options. Option 1, parry's just fully invincible through the hitbox like Beefcake is. So you just parry the first hit of a multi-hit move, and it just wins. That's option 1. Boring, low skill, trash. Onion's all about the style. Option 2. Parry auto parries follow-ups. So you still press it once, but rather than being invincible per se, it will just automatically parry the follow-ups. One gets iffy on like what would be the trade scenarios. There still might need to be low invulnerability to beat out, and also boring. Maybe looks more cool, but no skill. Trash. Option 3 is the way it works right now, or the way it worked before, where you cancel parry into itself as a way to do the multi-parry. Makes sense. I'm going to parry again. However, I removed it because it results in a lot of people like mashing parry and on wake up per se, and then they'd accidentally cancel the parry against like a normal one-hit move and then not get that, animation play out, the follow-up. They would just cancel it into another parry and waste all the frame advantage they gained. So that was bad. Option 4 is what we have right now. You move it to a separate button. That way you don't have the risk of accidentally multi-parrying when you don't mean to, but it's super unintuitive for people who do want to multi-parry. Why can I just not parry multi-hit moves? How would I possibly guess that I should press 4L or whatever it is? So I'm open to other ideas, to an option 5, to try and find that middle ground where multi-parrying is an intentional decision as long as it's not something that someone would do on accident. 4SS but longer freeze frames. That could potentially work for Jory. My only worry is if it like trivializes multi-parrying, if it's like too big of a gap if it's a big enough gap that you wouldn't accidentally mash through it, then it can be big enough that it's just really easy to recognize, oh, this is multi-hit, so I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. Bloop says, easier to have the parry be holdable. That's another interesting idea. It like kind of satisfies both. You'd have to know how to hold it. The holding's definitely easier than pressing. But on the other hand, you could accidentally hold it when you didn't mean to. It's been really interesting designing inputs and watching how different people like will tap a button and other people like press and like just bottom that thing out. Anyways, so yeah, glad to see the engagement chat, glad to see the ideas. I think that it could be further improved. So keep me posted. Table says TLA does not support holding buttons. Correct. TLA does not currently support holding buttons. Only directions. So it would work by like 4S and then holding 4 if we wanted to do the hold. I like the new game is able to assign inputs to holding and to releasing. So for example, right now for the assisting and tagging, like you hold the tag button for 60 seconds to actually tag, but in order to enable people to, just tap it for an assist, on release it calls the assist. So these systems are very doable. However, 60 seconds, 60 frames. 1 second. However, the way that I wrote the TLA character configs, aka how all modded characters are written, doesn't have any of those distinctions on like hold, press, or release. The inputs, in case you've ever worked on modded characters, are just like 5S. It was short-sighted. Again, I've learned so much from making TLA. The mistakes of a first fighting game in particular. So I know these are solvable problems, but the amount of stuff that would need to be kind of like rewritten to accommodate, and then the amount of like tooling that would need to be rewritten to accommodate old mod files, scares me away. So if I can find a solution without having to add hold support, that's what I'll try to do. Moving on. He's good. Make 4H faster. Yeah, that sounds good. Add more cosmetics. Nah. He's fly. Garlic is Very interesting that everyone agrees on 4. I guess, yeah, from the mindset of like, Garlic's strong, but like, you know, they're not onion. And we love to see it. Just the killer fun character. Strong agree. I wish that grab after dash behind would auto tech. I don't know what you're suggesting. Meaning that like if you try to grab someone out of dash, they automatically tech it, so it's just useless as an option? Or is this an issue of like someone doing a grab and then they get grabbed from behind and it doesn't tech? Juniper says, I was just pissed, ignore that. Moving on. Thank you, Juniper. Totally fair. Sometimes we get salty. It's alright. Increase the knockback on a blocked 4L. I would be very hesitant about doing this. That would have wide-ranging implications, but that's an interesting reason to do it. Can't think. I hate fighting this motherfucker. More range to his flick? Absolutely not. Really good and should stay. This is my favorite comment. I agree with this one. Moving on. Yes, that is in progress, as we've shown on a couple of recent dev streams. It's coming along. What about TLA originally appealed to you? Free in browser, simplicity, playing in school, back when you could play it in the school. 1v1 friends. It was free, and Gecko Squirrel said it was good. Nice. Yeah, Gecko Squirrel gave us a few good shoutouts. Playable on the school Chromebook, very good. TLA catches one eye. It also offered to immediately sate that curiosity. That's a good way of putting it. Cute art style, love it. And what keeps you playing? Modding. It's always good to see. Community, even better. It's very sweet. We're getting there. I promise we're getting there. It took 84 years, but we're getting there. And upcoming stuff. April, arcade mode. Yeah, definitely do mid-tier. Is mid-tier on any like set schedule? Same for Round Horsin'? Like, is there a better way for me to promote those? It's easy for me to like put TLG in the news because I, always know when it is. Are building consistent? Totally fair. Just a reminder to anyone who's running a tournament, especially an online open invitation one. Always happy to promo. Just let me know, and I'll share it on the socials. I'll put it in the news ticker. Always happy to share. Yeah, with school, totally Juniper. No worries. Totally get it. Evo, yes. Hopefully at Evo. Not confirmed yet, but early talks with them. Looking good. Hopefully. TLG 50, baby! And have you shared TLA with friends? Fucking rip. Yes, this is the best outcome. This is the best outcome. You share the love with other people, and then they resent you for it. Because you're just too good. The tragedy, but also the ego stroking. It's very good. Oh, I'm glad to hear you got one training partner though. That's sick. I think we did this, didn't we? Or has that just not been pushed yet? I don't think I pushed it. I think I did it on the branch with the rice boss. That is coming. That is coming. I mean, I'm not going to question a bloop. No, I know some people have said very nice things and have told me before that TLA is how they met some friends. So, I believe what Ludwig has said. I don't actually watch Ludwig. I don't follow him. I know he's just a big Twitch streamer. He does a lot of Smash stuff. But I watched a really valuable video about him, by him, early on when I was getting into this, about parasocial relationships. And the video was him sort of explaining that, like, hey, you know, people have reached out to me and said, you know, like, oh, Ludwig, your stream saved my life. Watching your content, you know, got me through this really hard time and all that stuff. And I'm paraphrasing what I remember from 2 years ago, not trying to put words in his mouth. But he said something along the gist of, like, if you didn't watch my content, it would have been something else. Maybe you would have, you know, watched Seinfeld or something. Like, I am not responsible for getting you out of depression. You are, and you should own that. And you should be proud of that. And I feel similarly. I don't think I did anything uniquely in Tough Love Arena that is responsible for changing someone's life or anything like that. I think I'm one of many different things that could have done that could have given someone a new positive experience, or made someone really salty and make them throw their keyboard. But I believe a lot of things could have done that, but I am more than happy to be the vessel. I'm very happy to have provided another avenue to help you reach a love for fighting games, to help you find those friends. So I echo those thoughts by Ludwig in a way to make sure that there isn't any misunderstanding about my role, my direct responsibility in the enrichment of your life, but that I'm very happy for you. So, you're welcome, but don't give me too much credit. I guess it's the short version of that. And now I'm going to take those lemons from Bloop for redeeming the hydrate. February says, Paul, you and Phil owe me headphones. I believe Phil. What did I do to you? So many short versions today. I'm always trying to do the short versions, Drew. I'm trying. And I'm clearly failing. It's been an hour. All right. Moving on. Lag is the only problem. There is lag. I do think the netcode could still be improved. But a big part of it is people are playing on Wi-Fi. People are playing on their phones. Please don't forget about this game. You have gold here. I never will. I will never abandon this game. Improve on advertising, get the game out more. That friggin' YouTube short, again, if that was it, if that's all it took, was eye-opening on what a little bit, because it didn't even have that many views on it, but on how much of a difference a little bit of that kind of stuff can do. So there's a part of me that once we get out of beta, once I can really eagerly say that this is a complete fighting game that deserves your bucks on Steam, and we can take it out early access, and it will still be in the browser. Like, I'm gonna have so much more confidence to entertain an idea like that, or sponsor a FGC YouTuber to give us like a 10-minute spotlight video or something. And especially for the new game, which I am taking much more seriously as like a business, there will be advertising to some degree. It's a shame because like advertising feels like this. If you've worked in a professional job and you know about advertising budgets, it could seem like just this black hole that just deletes money. And you can look at that and be like, how did that produce any value? Example, I worked at a company about 10 years ago that made business-to-business marketing software. I don't think they exist anymore. I think they went out of business, but I'm not gonna say their name, just in case, to try and reduce the chances of doxing me or whatever, even though it's probably very easy. But this company made business-to-business software, or SaaS, software as a service. Basically, it was TweetDeck as a service. It was like, hey, you're a modern company, you want to do social media marketing, so use our tool to like schedule your tweets and have like a way to like draft things and have other departments proofread them. It was supposed to be this middleman that you would pay a small fee to use between your business and advertising on social media. That was it. It was a productivity tool. Sure, could be a viable business model. You know, if you target big companies, you can get enough money to support a small engineering team. However, the geniuses in the advertising department decided that the best way to market this company where, compared to something that's like Facebook, where you're trying to get 1 million users and not charge them anything, or a product like a phone where you're trying to get a lot of people to pay you a good chunk of money, this whole business model was, we need to find the advertising executive at Coca-Cola and convince them to give our company $100,000. That was the business model, right? How do you advertise for that? How do you find your market? I don't know what the answer is, but I think I know what the answer isn't. And it's putting the name of your company with no other context on top of yellow cabs. My company spent a lot of money so that if you were walking in the streets of New York, you might see a yellow cab. And in case you haven't been in New York or watched any recent footage of New York, all the cabs have essentially tiny billboards on top that advertise things, often like Broadway musicals, or movies, Marvel movies, whatever. But every once in a while you'd see a cab that just had tech company name. And that was it. No one knows what this company is. No one knows what it does. And only people walking around in New York during the day sometimes might see it. I have no idea how much money they spent on that. But it was, I know why. It was because then they could take these photos and be like, holy shit, we're on yellow cabs. Like, isn't that cool? And it was very cool. And it was kind of fun for me as an employee to just be walking around and be like, hey, I know that. I recognize that. But what a waste of money. Oh my God. So ever since that happened, ever since I experienced that and witnessed that, made me very cynical about like marketing strategy, or like specifically, you know, the whole idea of marketing is that you're essentially investing money. You're spending money with the confidence that you'll get that money back because more people will find it and then give you money. And I am not convinced that I know the way to do that for Tough Love Arena today. How does it make sense? What avenue? If I spend $500 on Reddit ads, am I confident that that will return to me as $500 worth of Steam sales? No, I have no confidence it will do that. Hence, I have not done any advertising. But unfortunately, if you don't do any advertising, then no one finds out about your thing. So I think it's a sweet spot. You have to do enough to get it out there, and then hopefully, you know, maybe word of mouth can take it from there. But it's interesting. It's an interesting problem. Advertising. Thank you for letting me soapbox about that. That's such a fun memory. The insane yellow cab campaign. What a farce. Anyways. Cool. Let's wrap this up. Lots of nice things. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your responses on the survey. Always a pleasure to read these. Saw some good ideas about Caber Cancel and about multi-parry. Saw some good feedback, positive and negative. Saw some nice love. Saw some very confusing answers, as per always. Never worry about over-explaining your feedback if you want to give it in the future. And we do this every month. So if you feel like I didn't read your feedback or didn't address it or didn't understand it, you can always just post it again next month. I'll take you 5 seconds. On that note, let us move to the Q&A. I will full screen this. If you want to ask a question, or if you want me to answer a question, please post it in the Twitch chat now. If you asked it above, I will not be scrolling up, so please just ask it again. And then I will read through these, starting at the Joro message, Paul for the parry thing. That's where I'm going to start. And we'll read through these for a few minutes after I lower my standing desk, because I can't stand for more than an hour, apparently. And my back will just have to suck it. February, the Q&A is just starting. Don't bully me, February. I had some nice rants in there. Oh, that was primo content. This will be fun to put on YouTube. Okay. Let's position the camera to get maximum sweat in view, because I'm wearing a button down, and every time I do these streams I have to turn off like the AC and close all the windows to reduce noise, but then it gets really warm. Okay. Proper Q&A start time. Joro asks, Paul, for the parry thing, is multi-parry in the tutorials? I don't know if it is. Also, apologize for the mess behind me. We are packing. You can see some books. I got halfway through packing the bookshelf last night and then got distracted. It might not be, Joro. And there's a few things that are missing from the tutorials, because I just think they're kind of esoteric. And or like fun little secrets. But there's definitely some stuff that aren't in the tutorials because they're kind of they're either hard to verify, or they're hard to like create the scenario. But multi-parry probably should be in the tutorials. It's important enough. It comes up enough. I should try to make sure that has a way to do it. The issue is like, yeah, as you can tell if you've ever tried to do the lemon trials, the whole logic system I made for combo trials is really good at detecting if you did a move and it hit the opponent, and it's not good at anything else. So moves that whiff, or moves that you intentionally cancel before they finish, like a lemon fake, or things that don't hit during the active frames. So you finish throwing the lemon, you return to neutral, and then the lemon hits. Like the tutorial system I wrote, totally loses its mind. It can't track those things. So the problem with the multi-parry is I can verify that you did a parry and the cackle hit, but I can verify that you did a parry, because I could just check if started parry, boom, you win. But to track multiple parries without them hitting in between, I don't think is possible right now. This is programming. Anything is possible eventually with enough work. That's my excuse for why it doesn't work yet, because I'm lazy. And right now, it's not easy. But my guess is that it's not currently in the tutorials, and that is why. Maximum Bloop says, any updates on the new game? It continues to be coming along. Working on it every day is my day job. I've got 2 animators, a background artist, and sound effects person working on it right now. So there's been a lot of rapid change in the last couple of weeks. Also, I haven't been doing as many dev streams as I'd originally planned, just because 1, busy with the move, and 2, busy with being in meetings instead of actually making gameplay. I've been mostly in meetings and then plugging in art as opposed to building new features. But this is the tough arena state of the game. I don't want to talk too much about the new one, at least not yet. But I will try to do a dev stream this week before I pack up all my equipment, before I pack up my my stream computer, and you'll be able to check it out then. Excuse me. Shy Ninja asks, noodle, yes or no? Absolutely. My answer is absolutely. February says, what's your favorite flavor of ring pop? I haven't eaten them in a while. I had this period in my 20s. Spoilers, I'm not 20 years old anymore. Where when I liked a candy, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember Gobstoppers. Remember Gobstoppers? And then I would just buy a case on Amazon of like 10 boxes of Gobstoppers. And this is when I lived with roommates. And they'd help me with a few of them, but usually I'd get through like 2 or 3 boxes and then get tired of eating Gobstoppers. And I would just like accumulate all this candy this way. And so I had a ring pop period. Where at some point, buy me. I had a period where I bought a shit ton of ring pops and ate like exclusively ring pops for like a month. And from what I recall, there were 2 types of ring pops. There were the classic ones that were like pretty see-through and just one color. And it was your classic just like cherry, other fruit, watermelon maybe, I don't know. But there was also the newer ones that were advertised as like the swirls, and it was like 2 flavors, but it was swirled. And I always liked those less. Some of the swirl flavors were actually like kind of nasty, but also I think the translucent quality is really important to the ring pop. In some ways, like, you know, this is one of the foods that like the aesthetics matters almost as much as the taste. So my answer is basically any of the classic flavors, usually something reddish, is always a safe bet. But if there's a translucent blue raspberry is almost always my favorite flavor. I love it. I love the sour, unreal fruit that is the blue raspberry entirely invented flavor. Joro asks, Paul, can I make Sword Girl my profile picture? Go for it. I appreciate you asking, but go for it. Kerbokek says, will the April Fool's characters have combo trials? No. Like other April Fool's events, I will be disabling combo trials and ranked mode and other game modes that don't make sense when you have the character suddenly weird. Although, you know, tutorials will definitely be disabled. If there's interest in the mod creators and if I have time. So I can't promise this because, again, March, very busy with the move. But combo trials could be feasible. That could be fun. Because they're really not that much work to implement. Again, assuming the system works that can detect hits, like it's really just, you put in a list of moves. That could get a little weird because people like to, the move IDs aren't in code. I will think about it. I'll explore the idea. Also, I just realized that this was being asked by Kerbokek, who is one of the people making one of the April Fool's characters. So, Kerbo, you're in the special chat room for April Fool's mod creators. Feel free to remind me because I will forget. Remind me, let me put it this way. Remind me in like 2 weeks, at which point I'll be done with the move, I'll be settled, and I'll either know, yes, I have the time to add combo trials, or no, I don't. But an interesting suggestion. Thank you for bringing it up. Maximum Boob says, what other games have you made besides TLA and Mystery New Game? Those are the only 2 what I'd call like actual games. I made a website for my new game development business. If you want to look it up, it is mpaul.games. I won't bother showing it on stream. But right now, advertised on that is New Game, Tough Love Arena with an optimistic release date, and the Snowman game, aka the original sliding puzzle game that I ported to Tough Love Arena. Those are the 3 things that I can say are actual games with gameplay, and not just like I made a shitty version of Pac-Man with JoJo sprites, right? That's about it. Table says, when releasing the Boss Rice update, can you reread the tutorials? Some of them are seemingly out of date, especially regarding throws. Absolutely, Table. Thank you. Oh. Yeah, it's really easy for me to miss those. I just forget about them, or not do like a sanity check. So a good reminder. I'll try to take a look, and if not, you can remind me during a dev stream. Pac-Man's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, I'll show this one. Hold on a second. Let me. Let's do it like this. It plays the song from the ending in the background, which is a copyrighted song. which could take down this VOD when I try and put it on YouTube. So I'm gonna mute the game. Okay. Switch. Yes. Poll Man. Last updated February 2015. And this this came out. This was during part 3, the early second half of part 3, when Iggy had just been introduced. Hence the, although I might have just done it for the joke, the ugly Iggy. And so it's like, what are Polnareff's villains? It's Whole Horse, it's Iggy, and it's the toilet that the old witch lady makes him lick. But yeah, you go around, you get the pellets. And mostly it was an interesting exercise in like recreating the Pac-Man AI. Oh, and then you can become Chariot at will, and that's the equivalent of like eating the big pellet. Alright, anyways. Back to the big camera. So I made a bunch of stuff like that. I made a bunch of little pet games in the 10s. The 2010s. And a little bit like earlier when I was like in high school and college and stuff. But I'd say Snowman is the first like game with any sort of polish that I would share outside of my friend group. Moving on. Lightning asked, first time chatter from Lightning. Thank you for stopping by. Excuse me. Lightning asks, any ideas for rebalancing rejection, card cancel? It feels weak to me personally, but I may be overlooking some balancing decisions behind its advantage on hit block and pushback. I'd be curious to have some... Table says Pullman is more polished than TLA, so shut the hell up, Table. Don't make me mute you. I will not take these negs. So, in response to your question, Lightning, I'd be happy if top players weigh in, but my perception is that guard cancel is... It's definitely... It can feel kind of low impact for a whole bar, but when used as essentially an answer to someone rapiding aggressively, it's really powerful. If a meat spends 50 bars so that they can do uppercut, RC, they're in your face, you can just knock them back out and get back to neutral. And essentially trade meter. And the whole idea is, burst is obviously stronger. Burst costs 2 bars, but you can do burst after you're already getting hit, after you've already been opened up. So the alpha counter, like, I want to have on, I'd rather it be weak and just sort of the sometimes food, unlike RC and burst, which are supposed to be the big flashy mechanics. It was more of a, I wanted to add some sort of defensive mechanic that didn't cost a full 2 bars, and it seemed like a nice little sometimes food, because it wasn't in the release version. It was added after the fact. Like a bit after the fact, I think. I think it also did something early on, wasn't that when we had blue life and it would like recover blue life? I don't remember. Man, this game's changed a lot. Bloop says, will TLA get any sort of cameo in New Game? I am determined to make it happen. I don't know what in what form, but I would love for there to be a cameo. I always get so sniffly when I'm on camera. I don't know what it is. But I noticed like I'm constantly playing with my nose. I don't know. Maybe I just need to blow my nose. Hold on 1 second. Okay, all better. Moving on. Juniper says Onion doesn't even have a parry tutorial at all. Yeah, it does. He totally has a parry tutorial. I think. Oh god. Ugh. Let me know if he doesn't. Later, Shine Ninja. parry mini game for arcade mode, like with the barrels or the car. That could be fun. I mean, not every character can do it, but it could be fun. As Joro says, also, yeah, reject is stronger for some characters. Stronger in that like characters need it more, or it's more important for their game plan because they're trying to be keep away, that kind of stuff. Kerbokek asked, did you ever add the throw button icon? I mentioned that earlier in the stream. I added it, but it's in the development branch for Boss Rice. So it will go out soonish, but it's not enough for me to justify like doing a push and all the rigmarole associated with updating Steam and patch notes and everything just for that one cosmetic change. But it'll definitely go out in whatever the next change is. Thank you to whoever pointed that out in a recent dev stream. Yeah, total oversight. February says, what kind of OST will the new game have? Still undetermined. I'm gonna try and get the same composer as last time. But I don't know. Currently have an open mind. Exclusively ring pops? Like no other food? Yeah. I don't remember enough about ring pops to give a tier list. There are some candies where I can do a tier list where I have lots of opinions. But flavors of ring pops, I cannot tell you. I mean, it's all sugar at the end of the day. People are replying to the JoJo game and JoJo demonstration. People are talking about reject. Thank you, Joro. Yes, Joro, the toilet lick. Someone else remembers the toilet lick. I think I made the game like that week or whatever. Hence why I don't have art from the TV show for the toilet. It's just like clip art. And then this is the part where Table tried to give me shit about Pullman being more polished than TLA. Easton says, Paul, I asked a question in the April Fool's chat, which you might not want to answer on stream, but it's probably important. Let me check and decide. Thank you for your prudence. Can you add the spreads for projectiles? Should make the game run better. I would be open to that. Easid's question was about... Also, I'm suddenly out of focus. Sorry. Easid's question was about making... Or am I out of focus, or is my stream just low quality? Maybe it's just my stream. Easid asked about making projectile sprites more accessible to other characters when modding. I'm gonna talk more to Easid about that in the modder channel to unpack it a little bit more on the specific use case or which projectiles. It would not improve performance to not have to do the ... Going up a folder doesn't impact performance at all. But it is weird and it's an anti-pattern and it could break in the future. So that is something I could potentially support. It just depends, because the whole point of the projectiles is that like almost all the projectiles are skin specific. But if you want to have like a dedicated folder for just like default projectiles of just basic lemon, like I think I could support that as a use case. So maybe we'll talk about it. For now, just do the ... but it could be something that gets its way in late March before the patch actually goes live, and then modders will have it for future. I think I got another hydrate. I do have a new hydrate. 1 second. Juniper says he has a parry starter in the combo trials. The Onion has a parry starter in the combo trials, but it isn't actually explained in his tutorial. Never mind, he does have one. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, I'm not that bad of a game developer. I know I missed some things, but come on. And I just saw the ignore. Too late. I failed to ignore. I have caught up on chat. That concludes the questions. I think I will take my leave on that note. So thank you as always. Rice doesn't have anything in quick port about trials. That's too new. Often when I'm making these recent changes, I don't bother adding tutorials because I've reverted half of them like a month later. But it's stuck around long enough, I can probably add it. Thank you everyone for stopping by. Just one quick reminder. Back over to the slides over here. In case you joined the stream late, coming up, we have Tough Love Gauntlet this Friday on Shiggy's channel. It's gonna be great. There's money, there's prestige, there's premium accounts. The April Fool's tournament. It's gonna be great. There's no money, there's still prestige. And we're gonna be a ComboBreaker. Gonna have a table, gonna have merch, gonna have a side tournament, gonna have the new game. If you wanna try it out. It's gonna be great. Let me just check one thing. Never mind. I cannot share that yet. Okay. That concludes the sharing. Okay. Back to where was I? Where's stream? That concludes this state of the game. Clap was too loud. I shouldn't have clapped. This will be up on YouTube very shortly. These are easy to put up because I don't have to do any editing. And yeah, thanks again for joining. Just a reminder, TLG this Friday, no dev stream next week because I'm moving. But after that, I will resume dev streams, both for Tough Love Arena and other games. And it will be in a new apartment with less, there better be less noise. And I'm also really excited about completely redoing my stream setup. I'm gonna try to have like more of a dedicated stream studio thing going on. Maybe some LEDs, maybe even a green screen or something. And also have it set up in a way that it's much more convenient for me if I want to stream, say, me playing fighting games. So, looking forward to that whole thing, but I've been putting it off until I move. Famous last words. It's never gonna happen. This is always a pleasure. Making this game, having the ability to do these streams once a month, and talk to you all is a privilege, and I never forget that. I never take it for granted. So, thank you all. It continues to be a pleasure. We're gonna make a kick-ass Rice. We're gonna get this thing out of beta. Garlic's gonna be so beautiful, and we're gonna have our own freaking cabinet, and it's gonna be sick. So, look forward to it. Oh, and one last thing. I didn't make a slide for this. I submitted an application to give a talk about fighting game design at SakuraCon, which is later this month. So I have to mention it now because the next day of the game will be after the con. It's like the first day of April or something. It's in a couple weeks. It's in Seattle. I'm going with a friend, and I will be cosplaying with that friend. And I applied to do a panel, but I haven't heard back yet. So it may not be happening. If it happens, I'll announce it on Discord and Twitter. And if you're going to the con or if you're in the area, I'd love if you come check it out. If it's not happening, I'll still be at the con. And if you're at the con, shoot me a message on Discord. I'd be happy to meet up in the whatever, video game, fighting game area they have and chat and lose to you in a fighting game. So I'm always looking for excuses to meet the community. And this is a rare chance where I'm on the West Coast. So SakuraCon, not sure how to say that. Seattle, end of the month. Hopefully panel. Definitely you can see me in some, hopefully not revealing, embarrassing costume. All depends on what Jess decides to do to me. So look forward to that. And now I will truly conclude the stream. Goodbye, everyone. Until next time.